Ladies and metalfish, what is Edison format like in the OCG? After all, we've discussed GOAT format overseas and the differences in card pool, decks, and game philosophy. So tackling another one of Yu-Gi-Oh's most popular Time Wizard formats just makes sense. Yes, today we'll be discussing Crow formats, or colloquially known as OCG Edison format, aka 1009. It's about time. Firstly, we must look at the card pool differences. This format takes place a little later than Edison format, which is March 2010, following the TCG's March 2010 list. The OCG version relates to the September 2010 list, hence the name 1009, 10 as in 2010, and 9 as in the 9th month. Due to it being later on, the reasoning we'll discuss later, there's newer cards in the pool aside from the pile of Series 1 vanillas that don't require much discussion. Sorry, Torike. Of course, there's all the OCG exclusives at the time, like with the anime-related cards, obscure effect monsters, and the biggin being Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, which was released in January 2010 as part of the Dual Terminal Pulse of the Trishula installment. Trishula would get its TCG release in 2011, which I've discussed before on this channel. Edison's cap would be Absolute Power Force on February 16th. Naturally, with a large gap between the TCG and the OCG's cutoff point, additional core sets were bound to arise. Look at the Shining Darkness and its impact cards, Ronin Toden, Herald of Perfection, and Infernity Launcher. There was also Duelist Revolution with Effect Veiler, Pot of Duality, and Solemn Warning. The final core set would be Starstrike Blast on July 17th. This new release featured impressive cards such as Vanity's Emptiness, Formula Synchron, and most notably, Glow Up Bulb. This brilliant ball is essentially a level 1 version of Plague Spreader Zombie, an easy to assemble tuner. Thus, the creation of the Plant Synchro deck occurred, making use of all the incredible tuner options, which in many ways was the limit of the 5D's era's capabilities. It gave duelists a new deck to combat the winners of the current March 2010 list: Blackwing, Infernity, and Frogs. Thankfully, a lot of the wildness of OCG's 2010 year was checked thanks to the September 2010 list. Infernity got hit the strictest, with Launcher now limited, the deck's most important card. Launcher was generally seen as a toxic card that needed some sort of response from Konami due to possible loops. Plus, thanks to the limitation on Trishula, it's safe to say that Infernity will be hiding away for a while now. Speaking of, the Trishula Hell was now over. This Synchro and its powerful removal effect messed up game balance badly with OTKs, primarily with Infernity. Not only that, but all the new Synchro support made the 1003 format a Trishula heavy one, where any deck that could summon it out wanted to do so as fast as possible. With it now limited, it kept Trishula as a general purpose Synchro rather than a combo loot machine. Banning Substitoad hurt the evolving Frog deck. Evolution is not always good, however, as the deck led to the Substitoad loop that could OTK in part due to Mass Driver or pivot to a still valuable Frog Synchro strategy. It makes sense for the hit considering Frog Synchro won the World Championship that year. So why not get rid of the Crux card virus? It still meant that Frog decks could be played from a fundamental level. It's a similar concept to the limitation of Black Whirlwind. Hitting all the top decks was Konami's goal, and they achieved it. Black Wings have been a powerful deck in the OCG since 2009, relying on their staple continuous spell. Konami said, let's weaken it, yet not kill it outright. Not to avoid outward thinking, the banning of Rescue Cat was a good call, seeing the Rescue Synchros deck rise post Starstrike Blast. Konami also made some controversial moves by banning Heavy Storm and Brain Control, but also bringing back Dark Hole and Monster Reborn. Storm was a value card by its place in most decks. Dark Hole's been gone since 2006, making players believe that power cards could come off the list should Konami choose so. All the other relaxation on cards were logical given the continual shift of the game balance, like with Chaos Sorcerer, MST, and Royal Decree. And if you're enjoying this video and want to directly support the Janjo zone, then consider joining my Patreon to help create all the awesome content I pump out every week. Your patronage goes a long way in funding the best Yu-Gi-Oh channel out there. Surviving in this new age, Synchron adjacent Synchro decks were favored. Synchros were largely unhit with the new power-up of Glow Up Bulb and the Synchron Tuner Searcher, Tuning, also being released in Starstrike Blast. The cream of this was the Quick Dandy deck, a mid-speed Synchro deck that takes advantage of Synchron monsters and token generators like Dandelion to provide strong board presence. Due to the nature of a Synchro heavy deck, many at the time thought that a 15 card extra deck was not enough. Makes you wonder if Konami ever considered raising it to 20. It wouldn't be the first time the company increased deck size, looking at the change from expert rules to new expert rules, buffing the side deck from 10 to 15. That said, Blackwing remained to be an ever-dominant deck despite Black Whirlwind's hit. The sum of its parts were so powerful that it even beat out Quick Dandy, even with other decks running around like Hero Beat, which was designed as a counter to Blackwing. We also saw the creation of the Debris Dandy deck, which was more of a good stuff Chaos Synchro deck. It's almost funny how it feels like how Edison format would come to be during its revival. With all the restrictions and limitations, the meta turned into a counter-heavy environment. Traps were run aplenty with the likes of Royal Oppression, Bottomless Trap Hole, Solemn Warning, Raigeki Break, etc. Regardless, Blackwing still controlled the format, hence the pet name Crow format, named after the deck's anime wielder, Crow Hogan. Brother. So why do people compare Edison format to Crow format? Well, for starters, the 1003 list was not a fun time for the game, being composed of intense Blackwing decks, powerful Infernity loops, and Toxic Frog OTKs. The 1009 list fixed a lot of the issues by banning Substitute, limiting Trishula, and freeing a metric ton of cards in an unprecedented move by Konami. Yes, the card pools are not one-to-one, which if they were, we wouldn't even be here discussing this format at all outside my regular history coverage. Think of it like the TCG's glorious Starstrike format, just with Edison's sensibilities. We still have Trishula, plus all the other cards from the 3 previously mentioned core sets. There's more archetypes to play with, like Watt, Scrap, Karakuri, and Gen X Ally. All this that's pre-Storm of Ragnarok, so no Max C, one of the game's most notorious hand traps. And the list itself has some key differences, like with the limitations of Black Whirlwind and Royal Oppression, thus requiring new meta knowledge that still feels familiar in actual play. Crow format has all the flavors of early 2010 TCG. This is why many see it as an analog to Edison. Heck, Blackwing is still on top, much like the TCG, with Hero Beat and Synchron decks also sticking around. There's newer power cards like Herald of Perfection, Effect Veiler, Pot of Duality, Solemn Warning, Vanity's Emptiness, and Glow Up Bulb, sure. However, the game still has a comparable speed with a comparable level of fairness, all things considered. Next time you're looking for an OCG format to try out and you're a big fan of Edison, then Crow format's got you covered. It's a spicy substitute that's an absolute Black Whirlwind of a time. A real glow up of a format. A solemn warning of fun times. Okay, that's enough for me. Try the format out and let me know what you think of it. Is it overhyped as a comparison to Edison? Is it better or worse than some make it out to be? And what other OCG formats would you like me to cover next? Until next time, duel on, passionate duelist!